Hi, my name is Josh Cornett, and I'm the Ulrich Museum's Mary Joan Wade and Steve Overstreet curatorial intern for the 2021 and 2022 academic years. In this video, I'm going to discuss works featured in the section titled Migration of our Fall 2022 exhibition, Myths of the West. What you see here is Jeffrey Gibson's painting Migration, which is on loan at the Ulrich through the generosity of Art Bridges. Jeffrey Gibson, a contemporary artist of Mississippi Choctaw and Cherokee descent, draws inspiration for this piece from migration central to Native American history. Migrations not just of people, but also of designs, technologies, ideas, and aesthetics. Gibson's own ancestors were involved in the most infamous forced migration in Native American history, the Trail of Tears, when an estimated 100,000 Cherokee, Chickasaw, Seminole, Muskogee, and Choctaw people were forcibly removed from their homes. They were marched thousands of miles, often with little supplies and through harsh weather, to unfamiliar, inhospitable land. An estimated 15,000 people died. Gibson's migration alludes to this atrocity, but it also celebrates migratory culture. Its dynamic abstractions evoke native art forms and designs that remind us about the strong influence which non-Western traditions have had on abstract art. In Myths of the West, migration is accompanied by several older works of Native American art and material culture, which highlight the significance of migration. These objects are on loan from the Holmes Museum of Anthropology here at WSU, to which we are very grateful. Two elaborate weavings, both done by Diné or Navajo artists, echo the abstract, colorful patterns of Jeffrey Gibson's painting. Such woven objects are called Germantowns, referring to the synthetically dyed yarns from Germantown, Pennsylvania, that were used to make the weavings. The adoption of the Germantown yarns by the Diné was in part a reaction to the westward migration of U.S. settlers and traders, which began in earnest following a brutal military campaign. In 1864, the Diné were forcibly interred at the Bosque Redondo Reservation, after enduring a forced march known as the Long Walk, in which over 3,000 people died, and spending 4 years at the inhospitable Bosque Redondo, the Diné were allowed to return home. In need of income, Diné weavers adopted the Germantown yarns and produced textiles designed for sale to U.S. consumers who favored the colorful palette you see here. The synthetic yarns migrated with incoming traders, and the finished Navajo rugs went back to markets back east as luxury products. This dynamic of Diné material culture migrating through trade has long been present in the American Southwest, where the Diné traded with other tribes and nomadic bands. The textiles we see here speak to the interplay of effects from multiple migrations on Diné history. They are also beautiful testaments to Diné resilience and adaptability. These three jars all bear the characteristic pottery design produced by the Hopi Tewa artist Nampeo and her family. This pattern is known as the migration design. It shows abstract wings that interlock and wrap around the entire vessel. Nampeo herself never revealed the intended meaning of her design and did not use the term migration to describe it. Critics and historians have only inferred possible references, such as the idea that they referred to the migration of Nampeo's ancestors, the Hopi Tewa, who migrated from the Rio Grande around 1700 CE. These ceramics also exemplify the way cultural heritage migrates from one generation to the next, both preserving culture and changing it. The larger style to which these works belong has been called the Sikiaki Revival, named for the archaeological site where similar ancient pottery designs were found. Rather than being a revival of something that had gone extinct, though, knowledge of Hopi pottery was passed down from mother to daughter for centuries and has continued into the present. Each of these pots was made by a different descendant of Nampeo. One is by Elva Nampeo, the elder Nampeo's granddaughter, and these two were made by Elva's daughters, Miriam and Adele. They each testified to the migration of skills across generations into patterns that have been both repeated and changed by each individual. The final work in this section of the exhibition is a pair of moccasins. It is difficult to know for certain, but these moccasins likely originated from the Great Lakes region. In the past, moccasin styles were said to be so distinct that Native Americans could identify each other's tribe simply by the design of their moccasins. Over time, the once distinct styles blended together. Moccasins today are seen as so ubiquitously Indian, they can act as a symbol of pan-indigenous unity. but it is important to remember that Native American identity is not monolithic. In many people's imaginations, the term Indian is synonymous with the nomadic bands of the Great Plains, and moccasins are considered part of that nomadic culture. But we've seen from the other objects that the concept of migration isn't just connected to being nomadic. Many settled tribes were also forced to carry out their own migrations. Elements of culture migrated through trade, and ideas migrated from one individual or community to another. Through all these migrations, moccasins were present, and they are evocative of the great distances, both physical and metaphorical, that indigenous Americans have had to travel.